let me walk you through all the different courses that are a part of the executive PG program in medical technology. So here the students would be first undergoing a series of 8 fundamental courses on the Skill-Lync e-learning platform. Then they will also have 5 specialization courses that they can complete again on the online mode. And this will then be augmented by the 2 to 6 month training at the AMTZ campus and the associated companies within the AMTZ ecosystem. And at the end of the program, then the attendees would be eligible for IBSE certification through the exam conducted by IBSE. So let me give you a brief overview of the fundamental courses. We are first covering anatomy and physiology from an engineer's perspective. What is the basic types of systems of the human body that needs to be aware, followed by medical instrumentation and biomedical signals. We'll then talk about product design and development, IoT in healthcare, medical informatics, manufacturing techniques, and regulatory processes and standards that are relevant for creating medical devices. So the students would be completing each of these fundamental courses before they will be eligible to go on site and get trained in the AMTZ companies. So once this is completed, then in addition to the on-the-ground training in the companies, we're also offering these 3 specializations which would give detailed theoretical knowledge and practical tool knowledge on these domains. So in the imaging and radiology domain, we would teach a lot about the software skills that are required in imaging and radiology. So C++ and Python, and then how these softwares are used in radiology and imaging and optics to generate medical images. And once you have these images, how do you go about doing image processing and the rendering and visualization of the medical data for use in the medical field. The electronics and instrumentation primarily focuses on the embedded systems that are a part of all of these devices. So we start with a foundation on embedded C programming, and then talk about how medical embedded systems come together through the combination of sensors and transducers and different types of peripherals along with embedded microcontrollers. We then talk about the entire product development lifecycle of electronic systems through electronic system design, cover the advanced instrumentation and signal processing techniques that are often a part of such devices, and then finally talk about how verification, validation, and testing is done for all of these different devices so that these devices are safe to use in the medical industry. In the product design and development specialization, we focus on fundamental knowledge of one of the more popular design tools called CATIA. And then we talk about how engineers can then design products for the medical industry such that it is manufacturable and it makes it easier for assembly. Then we have a course on biomaterials that helps engineers understand what are all the different types of materials that are commonly used in the medical industry and critical aspects such as biocompatibility. We then talk about how implants are designed and manufactured. And then finally, in the in vitro diagnostics devices courses, we cover the foundations of the biochemistry that's behind in vitro diagnostics, followed by some of the product design and development aspects of IVDs. So these have all been designed, taking into account the typical kind of background knowledge that is gained, and accordingly, we have different eligibility for various background students to enter into each of these different domains. So how would this program be delivered? So the online courses that are being done on the Skill-Lync platform would primarily be consisting of course videos created by industry experts supported by live technical support. So you could opt for one-on-one tutoring sessions or group sessions with learners scheduled by the tutors on the Skill-Lync platform. There will be a learning management system that can help easily access course videos and submit the assignments and raise support tickets. Each of the courses would also come with hands-on industry-grade projects, in addition to the training that would be happening at the AMTZ campus. We would also be having multiple expert interactions throughout the program. And finally, we would then be helping the students who complete this program with job assistance in terms of improving their resumes, identifying the right job opportunities for their skill set, and helping them prepare for interviews. And throughout all of this, we would have technical support engineers and different types of support executives helping the students through their learning journey. So to summarize, the benefits of this program to the students are the IBSE skill certification, association with AMTZ through multiple talent partners who would then be considering these students for placements, the experiential learning and the hands-on training that would be available on the AMTZ campus, and regular interactions with scientists and experts, including monthly sessions at AMTZ. So overall, this would then help students, develop a really strong foundation on medical technology. And what might be some of the career opportunities for students completing these programs? Here are some of the titles that students can aspire to. So if someone has a very strong research mindset and very strong technical background, then they can aspire to enter the research career as a biomedical research engineer or scientist. Learning some amount of AI and ML along with the medical technology background would enable people to enter their career as a medical AI ML engineer or scientist. Understanding the radiation and radiology and imaging technology enables people to also become medical imaging engineers and scientists. In addition to that, within the medical device and in vitro device industry, there are a number of roles such as product design engineering, manufacturing engineering, hardware design engineer, software development and validation engineer, quality assurance, regulatory affairs, and so on. Students with a more bio or a medical background could also aim to become clinical application specialists, who are essentially the bridge between the engineering and the medical professionals who would then be using these devices. Finally, each of these devices need a large cohort of sales and service engineers and hospital engineers who are out there taking these devices into the market and then enabling their safe and efficient use within the hospital environment. You've already heard about a large number of companies through the earlier speakers today, so I won't spend much time today. But generally, we have both multinational companies, engineering services, domestic companies, and government labs who would potentially have roles similar to the ones that I'm talking about here that potentially students can aspire for. So with that, I would like to have a short Q&A session. So if you have any questions, please do share them within the chat window, and we'll take them up as appropriate. And then we will wrap up the session shortly. Okay. So we have a question from one of our international attendees. It looks like if someone was doing this online and they're not in India, they're in Africa, then where can they do the practical training? Festus, the answer to this is that right now for practical training, you will have to come to India and work either at the AMTZ location or any of where the partner companies are within India. So the hands-on training will require travel to India. Do we have any other questions? So there is a question for Mr. Rajiv Nath. This is regarding the role virtual reality that may play in the healthcare domain. Mr. Rajiv, would you be able to take that question?
So yes, definitely. You can already find that it's already happening in terms of training purposes, and also in terms of preparing for surgery. There are already softwares and equipments available with such kind of facility, which surgeons can use to prepare and plan for a surgery. How to enter the body, what parts of the body to cut, and how to bypass certain organs, and then to reach the area of surgery. So all that is part of that detailing over there. These are, of course, imported stuff, we need to have something similarly made in India, and definitely an opportunity for somebody to produce in India.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rajiv. So next we have a question on, can an engineer shift to jobs in this industry, into medical jobs? Jatin, very much industries can, engineers can contribute to medical technology. As you already saw, there are a number of different engineering roles within the medical devices and IVD industry that you can contribute to. On the other hand, if you would like to be a medical professional directly working with patients, that obviously would require a career change and learning more about medicine itself. Right. Abhishek has a question about job assistance. Abhishek, we will probably reach out to you offline and just understand what you have already done and what kind of support you would require, and then we will try to see how we can support you. Anita has a question on doing the training in Pune or Bangalore since the employment is in this location. So Anita, I think we have both Mr. Rajiv and Ms. Veena here who can talk about how widespread the job opportunities are across India. So I don't think the jobs are only within Bangalore or Pune, but I think it's much more widespread. And you already probably saw multiple slides earlier about this. When it comes to doing the on-the-job training, we have worked with many of the AMTZ partner companies. So we will have to just talk to you specifically on which specialization you are interested in and see if any of those companies have facilities within these two cities, and then identify if you'll be able to get trained in these cities. Akanksha Naik has, I think, a follow-up to the earlier question, which Mr. Rajiv answered. I think this one was, what about diagnosis of complex tumors and so on? How much would AR, VR be of help? Is there a follow-up, Mr. Rajiv, to that?
Yes, similarly, so such kind of softwares are already available in India, and like I mentioned, there's an opportunity to have something similar coming forward as a low-cost competitive source also from India. I'm sure with CNT and HCL on board, that can be a target for them, an objective for them to realize. And with the 3D printing which AMTZ is doing, if something like that can be done in collaboration with either CNT or with HCL, that would definitely help, I would say, in planning for surgery and also in product development and design development. Incidentally, IIT Kanpur also is coming up with a center for design. And this is something that we've discussed already with them in terms of 3D modeling. They will provide the facilities for that. So I would say the manufacturing ecosystem in India is evolving for design in India, develop in India, and make in India, and test in India.
All right. Thank you very much.
If I may just add just one thing, especially in hematology, which is the first screening test for detection of blood cancer. So there, whenever there's an abnormal blood count that's seen, immediately the technician has to prepare a slide, and then the pathologist has to sit under the microscope to really count the abnormal cells and their distribution to be able to arrive at what kind of a blood cancer is this. But there were always errors, those human errors we've not been able to eliminate. But now we have instruments and softwares that use an algorithm through artificial intelligence and virtual reality to give the exact number of abnormal cells without any human intervention, exact number of abnormal cells, which would tell us what stage of a lymphoma or lymphadenopathy or leukemia it is. So it is right now not available in India. It is there in European countries, and they get imported here into the country. And I very strongly feel that this medical technology program would train some people in this area also, so that in hematology, wherein India is quite strong, and only missing thing are the instruments and these softwares, and they could also become available to have a complete basket of self-reliance within the country.
Thank you very much. So I would also like to share with those of you who are from the industry that as earlier stated, if you feel that you would have multiple employees who benefit from either the entire program or parts of it, we can also get into any conversations and understand a little bit more specifically what might be the needs and how that can be structured. We also have a question from Gaurav, who is working on dialysis machines, which companies are involved in the training. So Gaurav, we have a list of companies that are available on our website. I'll then share that with you offline, and you'll be able to understand which are these companies. Chirag has asked a question on working in marketing and in production management, but I don't think he's talking about not having a technical background. So for each of these specializations, we essentially have some amount of prerequisite knowledge that we assume in the program, and accordingly eligibility criteria have been created. So essentially, we expect people to come from either a BSc, MSc background or a BE, BTech background. And depending upon which branch you would have studied, there are appropriate specializations for that background. So please look at the program details on our website, where you can learn more about what are these requirements. I will also be posting the link to the program on the website here in the chat. So please look there for further information. So with that, I think we are coming to the end of the session. So if any of you are key folks in the colleges and academic ecosystem, please do reach out to us. We will be happy to understand if you have multiple students who might be interested in joining this program, and we can then identify how that can be done in an efficient manner. With that, we come to the end of the program. I would really like to thank Dr. Jitendra Sharma, Ms. Veena Kohli, and Mr. Rajiv Nath for joining us today for this program. Please reach out to us if you have any further information, and thank you everyone, and have a good evening.
Guys, if you want to reach out to us, please do mention your queries in the feedback form. We will get in touch with you. For both B2B as well as students directly interested in the program, mention your interest or your queries in the feedback form.